And we're back! Hello there, friend. Welcome back to Max's Writer's Life Vlog, where I talk about my own process, my own writing process, whatever else has been going on with my week, as well as offering writing advice and inspiration along the way. This time around I have a bit of a special video. One, that it's really about time that I cover this. It's been forever since the last time that I talked about show versus tell. The grand finals are here today. Who will stand victorious? Let's wait and find out. Before anything else, let's talk about my week. What have I been up to? So, really quick update for me. I'm still in the very, very bottom depths of editing hell. I've been doing nothing but editing this week again. Thankfully, I'm just about ready to get back into writing. I'm doing a little bit of the entire part, like the latter half of my brainstorming process, and probably by the time this video goes up on YouTube, I will already be writing, so that's exciting. I'm actually really excited to get back into writing. Editing is a completely different mindset. Like I think I talked about this on Twitter once, but sometimes editing feels like playing an indie puzzle game, because more often than not, at least for me and my revision process, especially during the phase that I just finished yesterday, it becomes a lot about moving pieces around. But yeah, anyhow, that was my week, just editing. Hopefully we're coming to the end of that. Following up on the narrative from last week, we have arrived at the bottom of hell, and we're stepping through purgatory back into the heaven that is writing. Ah, how much I love writing. But anyhow, let's dive right into the big subject of the week. What are we talking about this week? This week, we're finally gonna tackle one of the big ones. Show, not tell. What does this phrase mean? Why do people throw it around? Is it actually something you should even be paying attention to? Let's take it from the top. So, show versus tell, the fight of the century. The money match of the century. Was it a grudge match? I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about this particular subject without covering my own personal history regarding this, so I'll take it from there. I had issues for years with show, not tell, because that's a phrase that, like, it's super famous and popular, and your English professors in high school like to throw that around without actually explaining what the heck it means. And for years, I think through the entirety of high school and all the creative courses I took there, I didn't know what it meant. I assumed that it was one of those like feely things, one of those like hipster things. It's like, no, you gotta feel it, man. You gotta feel it. You got me, bro? You got me, bro? You gotta feel the writing. That's a little silly. A little too silly. Tone it down, Max. I had a teacher who like, you're not allowed to clap in this class. You have to do this. I'm like, oof, just put a beret on that teacher and you're done. This stereotype is ready. Take her out of the oven. Anyhow. So I had issues with this term. I didn't know what it meant, and for years I was just like, I guess it's just the thing hipsters say. That sounds cool, I guess. Show me, don't tell me. And it wasn't until college when I took like a really, really good class and I met a really, really good creative writing teacher who finally explained things to me. And it's weird because it boiled down to two things. First and foremost, looking at showing and telling and actually calling them what they actually are. It's not showing versus telling, it's description versus summary. When you want to show something to the reader, you want to describe it to them. You want to describe something in detail so that the reader themselves can picture it in their mind. It's the part of the interactive nature of writing. When you describe something to somebody, they piece it together in their minds and they create their own version of that. That is what makes writing so cool and interesting, because the version that you're reading, the version that you're imagining in your head, it's your very own, and no one else sees it just like you do, and that's what makes writing so very interesting. The power of description / to show is that you allow the reader to be a part of the story. You allow them to imagine things themselves, and through that very own process become more immersed in the act of reading your story. Now, on the other hand, we have telling, or actually by its actual real name, summary. When you're summarizing things to the reader, you're giving them information in the most effective way possible. Now, I feel like a bunch of you right now should actually be connecting the dots right now and be like, wait a minute, telling is actually super useful, and it is. Summary is incredibly useful because it allows you to relay a bunch of information to the reader without overloading the reader with tons of minutia and just trivial details. You don't have to describe everything that your character does in every minute of their day in excruciating detail. You can sometimes just break it down and summarize it to the reader. The character got home at the end of the day. The party traveled for 2 weeks. So now you know where I came from. Now you know what these two things actually are. They are not these mystical elements that nobody ever actually cares to explain, and they just say it because it sounds cool. Show, not tell. Considering these things, I created a bit of a metaphor a long time ago, and it's the idea that showing and telling are two different tools in your writer's toolbox. Showing, or rather description, is more like a carving knife. You know, it's very specific, and it's very effective for having the reader zoom in on something or slowing down the action to show detail, to bring the reader into your story. On the other hand, summary/telling is more like a hammer. It breaks things down and it lets you get to the good stuff as fast as possible. Now, considering all of these things, is it just me, or can't you see that both of these tools belong together? There are two tools that belong in your writer's toolbox, and to say that one is better than the other is kind of nonsensical and just silly, because they're both different tools for different jobs. Two different tools for two different jobs. Now, before I go, I have 2 tips, one for each tool, that I want to give you. I found them over a long time of writing, and I think they're really effective, and I want to just, show you how I've been using these tools. Now, for me, description, or showing, is all about focus. If there's something you want the reader to focus on, describe it. Describe it in as much detail as you need it to be. When you want the reader to notice something, for instance, something that may be important for foreshadowing or for any character element, zoom in on it. Slow down the action. Let the reader see it. Of course, the caveat with this is that, as I mentioned before, and the biggest pitfall of people saying show not tell is that too much description can take away from things, because if you zoom in, if you slow down on every detail, the reader kind of becomes desensitized. They don't know what's important or what's not important, since you zoom in and slow down on everything. So choose wisely when you want to slow down, zoom in, and let the reader focus on the details, okay? And now for my friend telling/summary. There's one little nugget that I did not talk about, and I'm going to talk about right now. And that is that telling, or summary, is a hammer. It is totally a hammer, and sometimes describing things is not as effective as just being flat out blunt. Here's the dealio. You know all of those cliffhangers that you hate? All of those cliffhangers that make you go, oh no! Those are all telling. Those are all just summary. It's ending a chapter with, and then the character jumped off the cliff. Or just an action, no description whatsoever. Why? Because it leaves you hanging. It literally robs you of your ability to imagine things, connect things on your end. That's what telling, summary, is like a hammer. It can be blunt. Ending a chapter with just a simple line, a noun, a verb, no adjectives, it leaves the reader going, wait, what? So again, a carving knife, a hammer, different tools for different jobs. And that was a really fun video. I've been looking forward to talking about this forever. This is one of those subjects that I really love talking about, mostly because it's one of those misunderstandings of writing, because I had this phrase, show not tell, be thrown at me ever since I was in high school, and I never understood it, because I had really not good teachers. So it was weird, and it wasn't until someone explained it to me, or at least broke it down and made sense of it, that I went, oh, that makes sense. Okay, this video has gone on way too long. I had too much fun. I hope that it was helpful, and I hope that if anything, I gave you another point of view, okay? For the time being, I want to hear how your week has been going. Have you been writing? Have you been doing Camp NaNoWriMo? How are your updates? Are you having fun? Are you editing? Let me know in the comments down below. And for the time being, I gotta get going. I got a really busy day going. And writing is just around the corner, and that's very exciting. So, for the time being, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me. And I'll see you on the next one.